All right, good morning, everyone. Wanted to do another reading from Wisdom from the Bible, Daily Thoughts from the Proverbs. This has been a year-long devotional that I have been slowly working my way through, reading 1 week's worth of devotions per video is how I have structured this. So we are in November, so we don't have too many more videos until we will be all done with this. And thank you to those who have watched this whole series. Okay, so today we start with November 12th. Whoso diggeth a pit shall fall therein, and he that rolleth a stone, it will return upon him. A lying tongue hateth those that are afflicted by it, and a flattering mouth worketh ruin. Chapter 26, verses 27 and 28. She couldn't believe what was happening. She had accepted a date for Friday night from a man she was seeing off and on. Then, out of the blue, her boss had asked her out. She had dreamed of that happening ever since she got the job. She reluctantly called her date for the evening and told him that she had become very ill and that she wouldn't be able to go out. Then she prepared herself for her evening with her boss. It was a wonderful evening, and she kept trying to tell herself that what she had done was perfectly fine. They were riding the elevator up to her floor, and she was anticipating a nice ending to the evening in her apartment. When the elevator doors opened, her sometimes boyfriend was sitting across from it. He had come to spend the evening with her because he felt sorry for her. Suddenly the guilt of what she had done swept over her, and she began to cry. Each time we tell a lie, we set a trap. Someone might find out. Most lies have the potential of hurting someone. We do not have the right to do that to anyone. God watches each of us to see whether we will commit ourselves to living lives of truth or not. When we choose correctly, He rejoices and blesses us richly. I want to be an honest person, showing my love and respect for other people by my honesty. Help me to destroy that part of me which is prone to lie and deceive. Give me a portion of your truth by which I might live. November 13th. Boast not thyself of tomorrow, for thou knowest not what a day may bring forth. Chapter 27, verse 1. He thought of all the times he had promised his little boy that he would do something together soon. Play ball, sail boats, go to the zoo. It really didn't matter. He was always too busy, and so he said that they would do it soon. He always figured they had a world of tomorrows, and he had really believed that they would do all the things his son had wanted to. It didn't seem possible. One day his boy was running and laughing, and the next day he was dead. Why hadn't he spent more time with his child? Why did he always say later instead of now? The pain and guilt rested heavily on his heart, and he knew that he could never know the joy of sharing those times with his little son. We live our lives as if we have all the time in the world. That is so foolish. The only thing we are sure of is that we still have today, this minute. It is the wise man or woman who learns to live each day to the fullest. We must strive to be as good as we can be and to give as much as we are able every single day, for we do not know which one might be our last. God richly blesses those people who will live fully and for the day. His pride is in his children who act wisely and don't waste any of the precious time he has given them. Lord, help me to make the most of this day. Teach me to live a full life and to do everything in my power to please you. Bless my life, Father, and make me a blessing in the lives of others. November 14th. Let another man praise thee, and not thine own mouth, a stranger, and not thine own lips. Chapter 27, verse 2. The quarterback stood before the reporters, giving them his views of the upcoming game. I really don't think we have much to worry about. We have prepared for this game. We have a stronger defense, a stronger offense, and I am definitely a better quarterback than my opponent. My strategics speaks for themselves, or my statistics speak for themselves. I've outperformed him in every category. He's good, but I'm better. The interview ended, the game was played, and it was an upset. The opposing quarterback threw rings around his adversary, and the words he had uttered hours before were spread far and wide throughout all the major news services. When we compliment ourselves, we open ourselves to disaster. Pride comes before the fall, the saying goes, and it is true. We cannot fall if we never set ourselves up before everyone else. When we do something well, we should content ourselves with the appreciation of others and not fall into the trap of conceit and arrogance. God loves humility, and His blessing is upon all who will think more highly of others than they think of themselves. Our praise should be for God and for others, but never for ourselves. Lord, teach me humility and grace. I too often think that no one else can do things as well as I do. I get a wrong picture of my importance. Put my life into perspective that I might live as I ought to. November 15th. A stone is heavy and the sand weighty, but a fool's wrath is heavier than them both. Chapter 27, verse 3. The old building had stood for over a century. It had weathered many storms, a dozen tornadoes, and a few minor earthquakes. Over 10,000 people had lived in its frame during its century of existence. It was a landmark, but it was still coming down. The trucks moved in, the wrecking ball leading the way. The huge crane pulled back and then swung toward the structure. The ball connected a punched. I think there's a typo in here. The ball connected and punched a hole in the side. A few more swings and the entire wall collapsed. Within hours, all that remained was a mountainous pile of rubble. Words spoken in anger, without forethought, can have the same effect on people's lives. Cruel words spoken rage can destroy a relationship, and their impact is more powerful than the weight of the wrecking ball. Wise people learn to control the passions which can maim and destroy. It is the fool who will speak without restraint and inflict the greatest pain. As Christians, we must always watch the words of our mouths. We have promised God that we will be people of love, and words spoken in anger have no place in love. The words of our mouths springs forth from our hearts, reflecting what is really inside. Search my heart to its very depth, Lord, and cleanse me of my iniquity. Help me to walk in a way that is good and helpful. Make my lips issue forth praise and peace instead of venom and fire. November 16th. Faithful are the words of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful. Chapter 27, verse 6. Jesus waited in the garden. His disciples had dozed off, and he was alone to speak with God. He prayed hard and long, and when he finished, he looked up to see the approaching torches of soldiers and magistrates. He awakened his disciples, and to their amazement, one of their own was leading the aggressors. Judas looked upon Christ, and he felt icy. He moved forward to embrace the Lord, then kissed him on the cheek, as if to say goodbye, and that he was sorry. Jesus pulled back and said, through pain and anguish, "A kiss. You come and you betray me with a kiss?" Have you ever thought how painful that action was to Christ? An act usually associated with love was used to signal destruction. Someone that Christ had trusted and befriended paid him back by turning him over to the authorities, and he did it with a kiss. There are times when a friend will strike us in order to wake us up to danger, or to bring us back to reality. Those blows are a blessing. But when someone hurts us under the pretense of love, That is the worst kind of pain. God wants us to deal with each other honestly. We cannot have things both ways. If we are not for God, we are against Him, and we should never compound our crime with hypocrisy. Each time I sin, Father, I betray you with a kiss. I claim to love you, but then I do the things which I know you hate. Please forgive me, Lord. Help me to be better, I pray. November 17th. Ointment and perfume rejoice the heart. So doth the sweetness of a man's friend by hearty counsel. Chapter 27, verse 9. The day had been so hot and tiring. All she could think of was soaking in a nice tub full of bubbles. It was the least she deserved. She stepped into the warm, fragrant bath, and immediately the tension and heat of the day was banished. Excuse me. As she soaked, her muscles loosened and she relaxed. There was very little in life which was as nice as a good soak in a tub after a trying day. And boy, I relate to this because that's my relaxing too. I can totally relate to this particular story. She felt like she could face anything the world would throw at her after her bath. It didn't take a whole lot, but she was refreshed and ready to meet life again. A good conversation with a trusted friend can be every bit as refreshing as the aforementioned bath. There can be nothing quite so gratifying as spending time with a good friend just talking things over. We need someone with whom we can share secrets and dreams. That is why prayer is so powerful. Anytime, anywhere, we can have a talk with God, which will strengthen and renew us. He can give us the strength to meet the world head on, and He will never leave us. He so wants for us to come to Him to share our lives with Him. It pleases Him to know that we love Him enough to want to spend time with Him. I come to you knowing that you will not judge or condemn or mock. Thank you for being so close whenever I need you. I could not want a better friend in my life. I love you, Lord. And then the last one for this video is November 18th. He that blesseth his friend with a loud voice, rising early in the morning, it shall be counted a curse to him. Chapter 27:14. It was not always easy being a night owl. Staying up late was only a pleasure when she was allowed to sleep in late. Since they had moved to the new neighborhood, she had met a few people, and they all arose around 6 a.m. That was fine if that's what they wanted to do. The problem was that they called her up after breakfast, which for them was 7. She knew that they were just trying to be friendly, but sometimes she wanted to scream at them. She had tried nicely to tell them that she liked sleeping in, but they still called by 8. She didn't know how long she would be able to tolerate their friendliness until it drove her completely crazy. Consideration is an important Christian quality. If we love and respect other people, then we will want to know what is pleasing to them, and we will try to accommodate them. If we force ourselves on others, then we are being selfish. God doesn't want anyone to force their will on anyone else. Instead, He wants us to do for others everything in our power to make them comfortable and happy. To serve means to do what other people need and want. We do not get to set the rules, but we follow the rules of love set down by God. Lord, I sometimes think I know what is desired of me, but I don't always ask. Help me to be sensitive to the needs of others, that I might serve them and bring them joy and comfort. All right, so that will do it for this video. And so I'll go ahead and end it there, guys, and I will talk to you next time. Take care, everyone. God bless.